This morning, we will see and hear and experience the beauty and possibility of the Christmas story, enacted by our church's young people. In this gathering, we ask not, is this story true, but rather, what is true about this story? The children here are likely familiar with this question because we often ask them to approach stories this way in their religious education classes. We retell and reenact the story of the first Christmas every year because in hearing the words of Scripture and watching the Holy Family and the angels, the sheep and shepherds, and the wise people, we find truths that speak to our lives and are reflected all around us in our world today. Each year it may resonate with you in a slightly different way. What feels especially true and meaningful to me this year is the spirit of generosity shown by the innkeeper and even by the animals in the stable where Jesus was born. The Holy Family wandered trying to find a place for Mary to give birth. They were turned away at the inn because it was full, but the innkeeper said, "I have a stable, you can rest there." The Christmas story is one of hospitality and of welcoming a refugee, asylum-seeking family in danger. There are many such families today, just a little ways south and west of here, along the border with Mexico. There have been caravans of migrants for thousands of years. What if the Holy Family had been turned away and sent back into the desert to continue wandering? What fate might Joseph and Mary and the little baby Jesus have met? We surely would not be telling this story today, a story of hope and light and love being born into the world in the form of a little baby. Imagine what goodness might have been lost. But they weren't turned away. They were welcomed into the warmth of the stable. Mary and Joseph rested, and Mary gave birth to the baby they named Jesus. They were surrounded by attentive animals, all mothering the little baby alongside Mary. The animals, in their own way, created a space of welcome. When I hear this story this year, I think of the words by the Sufi poet Rumi, which have been put to music in our hymnal. He wrote, "Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again, come." If Rumi had been around at the time of Jesus, I bet Jesus would have spoken and sung these words too. He welcomed the poor and the homeless, the sick, the prostitutes, the money changers. He gathered around him people of all kinds. It was no caravan of despair. And what if we enacted these 13th century words and welcomed the holy families of today? Come, come, whoever you are, no credentials required. We see the humanity in you, the goodness in you, and we welcome you. Here may you be free from fear and from threats of harm. Here may your children have a good and safe life. This, I think, is how we can live the spirit of Christmas, through hospitality and welcome. Many are in need of welcome right here in our communities and in our world. They're in need of shelter from the cold, shelter from the storm of life and the world, or from the challenges of the holiday season. They've been turned away from the inn, or perhaps many inns, and are searching for a place to settle. Can your heart or your home be such a refuge? In the past couple weeks, I here at church have received a remarkable number of requests for support and assistance, both pastoral and spiritual support, as well as tangible material assistance. These requests have come from some in this congregation, but mostly from people outside the congregation. I've heard from Unitarian Universalists from elsewhere who are here in town dealing with difficult family situations. I've heard from colleagues in other places whose members and friends are moving here and are going to need some extra help settling into their new home. I've heard from people, including a pregnant woman, fleeing a dangerous situation and needing material assistance. How, in this season when we celebrate a young, expectant refugee mother and her baby, could we say no to these requests? With the help of this generous congregation, its staff, and many of its members, we have been able to say yes. We've welcomed the stranger, the neighbor, the friend. And 2 weeks ago, up here on the chancel, we welcomed new members into this congregation. One of the promises that we made to them was that we would hold our lamp high to light them on their way. We can and we must all do this for each other, because when we hold out our lamp and welcome others in, something important and transformative can be born. Come, come, whoever you are. We are no caravan of despair. We welcome the stranger, the neighbor, the friend. Let's light the way for a larger hope and a love more expansive than anything we know now to be born into this world. May it be so this Christmas.